If you having venom problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems and some bitches ain't one. Hit me. Oh my god. Oh, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to get 55,000 subscribers before the end of the month. That'd be greatly appreciated. If you like this new style of video, go ahead and like the video. Let's try to get the 99 likes. Because a bitch ain't gonna get another one on there. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be talking about the anti-venom problem. So there are a lot of problems that I do have with this game, and the anti-venom suit isn't really one of them. Like, going back and looking at it, and even like playing the game 3 times in a row, the suit and the way you get it isn't really necessarily a problem. I decided to rewatch some of the cutscenes leading up to it in the moment that you actually don this cum stain of a suit. The problem here is the fact that Insomniac and the actors of the game really tried their best to make this seem like this was a story of addiction, of a character who was hooked on this power, dependent on it to be like a better hero that he needs to be within the story. And yeah, that doesn't really happen, and the anti-venom suit kind of goes against like all of that. Just let me explain real quick. I don't think I'm really missing anything here, but to me, they fell flat at making it seem like Peter, and even in extension, Harry, was like hooked on the suit. And hell, I even argue that Peter doesn't even need the suit unless he's fighting Kraven, and otherwise he'll get his ass pushed inside out. But besides that, he doesn't really need the suit, in my opinion. They seem to be more manipulated by the alien goo, and that's a lot less interesting than them being more subtly subjected into being, you know, addicted to the suit. And going further on, if they had a scene where Spider-Man had legitimately failed, then it would have seemed a little more necessary for him to at least have the suit and act the way he did. And I don't mean like almost fail, I mean like fail. And I really think that an NPC or two could have bit the dust, and it could have made the symbiote arc, it could have made Peter being insecure about, you know, being a better Spider-Man, and his whole dependency on the suit 10 times better. It would have been so much better. And just imagine at that Coney Island mission, if they actually did have Peter end up like failing to save a life or two, and how that could have impacted him throughout the whole game. I think that just would have been perfection. The scene of him almost failing at Coney Island 100% gets the point across. Like, the symbiote is a lot stronger than Peter, and it helps him out when he really needed it. So there could be an instance where they could, you know, have that moment where they could use that as an excuse. But the whole "I need this suit, it makes me a better Spider-Man" line would have hit a lot harder if, you know, he actually had failed during that moment, or if the suit was actually making him a better Spider-Man, but it's just really not. And a lot of people may even say that Aunt May's death also plays a part in Peter needing the suit to be stronger, and I get that sentiment in some way, but to have a new body fresh on Peter's mind, and just having him, you know, kind of go through that type of trauma in the moment with Miles and MJ in the background would have been a nice touch. It would have been nice to see that type of emotional trauma or turmoil with Peter, and more than just like a couple scenes, like 2 scenes. It would have benefited from it being, of course, more recent for the viewer. Harry, on the other hand, is quite literally dependent on the suit because it's the only thing keeping him alive. Of course he'll be hooked on it. It's the only thing that's been keeping him from using a cane and looking like SpongeBob when he gets the suds. His anger is actually justified because Peter knows this. Forget the invisible magic cure that Norman all of a sudden has cooking up. The symbiote had been Harry's one and only treatment for almost an entire year. Of course he's gonna be addicted to something like that. So Harry is hooked, and Peter is kind of like more manipulated into thinking that he is, possibly by the symbiote itself. And there is room for a much more nuanced discussion about this itself, and how the entire game is just 2 dude bros being caught in a disturbing love triangle with a giant space goo monster. And there's just really not much nuance with the anti-venom suit, unfortunately, with the problems that I have with that. After Peter gets the symbiote suit off, basically, Connors tells him that there's still a small piece of it inside of you, and that idea of, you know, the thing that you're addicted to always being with you is nothing new. I mean, relapse is of course a real thing, and the pressure to not do something sometimes leads people to do that exact thing that they were trained to avoid. So the way that they present Peter wanting the suit back is like some random one-liner about how he misses the symbiote strength when he finally sees the first symbiote enemy, and that's really the only time he refers to him missing the power or of the symbiote, from what I remember playing the game like 3 times now. So when we do get the anti-venom suit from Mr. Negative, the explanation they gave us, saying it gives him the same power just without the voices that are manipulating him. It's almost like saying, oh, my Uncle Terry stop drinking beer, but now he drinks anti-beer. It gives him the same goofy, dizzy effects of alcohol, but it doesn't make him beat his wife or make him a raging piece of garbage. Like, there's, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much that's wrong with what they were trying to go for and what they were trying to imply with the anti-venom suit, but it's a bit of a lazy way to explain it off, in my opinion. It's a clever idea that's taken from the comics, like a lot of the clever ideas in this game, for Lee to like transfer his power like that. But realistically, it's only here for two reasons. One, something to help defeat Venom, which, even though I thought destroying a meteorite was the same thing, it's kind of redundant in my opinion. Like, at the end, they're trying to make it seem like Peter's the one that did it, but also the meteorite gets destroyed, so wouldn't that also destroy Venom? Yeah. And number two, it would be let the player have the symbiote back. Like, obviously, it's so clear they weren't going to let the player not have the fucking symbiote suit for the rest of the game. At that moment where Connor's like, oh yeah, the thing's still inside you, I'm like, oh my god, we're definitely getting this shit back. And personally, I think it's the right way to go. Like, this is of course the right way to do it, and it's the best way to bring back the symbiote without turning Peter back into dickhead Peter. So I'm not like judging them for doing this. It's just really hard to take serious the addiction story when you give him the same exact thing that he was practically addicted to, but without the voices. So what you're saying is that the voices is what he was addicted to, not the power. So you see where I have the confliction for taking this shit seriously with the whole symbiote is addicting. Like, it's just a possession story. It's not an addiction story. You could take the performance from somebody who is addicted and is obviously going through that type of thing and use that as a platform to, of course, use as a performance, like Yuri said. But to claim and to say that they're trying to use people that are addicted, like, it doesn't work. And I thought that they were going to go a little bit more nuance with it, but they didn't. Another problem besides the whole addiction thing that I was talking about is how Peter is going to remove the suit, because I do not believe for a fucking second that they are going to have the anti-venom suit in the third game. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. A way to do it would be DLC, and shout out to Nigel Banks 1553 for some of the ideas. He wrote this in my comments, and I thought they were really, really good ideas. But a great way to get the anti-venom suit off Peter would be to give it to Eddie Brock. And that would be, of course, setting up a Venom game. And the best way to do this would have Eddie, of course, investigate the Flame and Carnage and get up and close and personal in between a battle between Spider-Man and Wraith versus Carnage. It would be a great way to have Eddie get hurt and then potentially have Peter save him by giving him the anti-venom suit, a lot like how Harry did it to him with the regular symbiote suit. And that could possibly turn back to the regular symbiote suit somehow. Maybe the bond isn't pure or something and it goes back to being Black Evil version, or I don't know how that would work necessarily, but I think that without a fucking doubt, Insomniac is going to figure out a way to get the anti-venom suit off of Peter, because it just kind of seems redundant to bring that back and kind of keep doing it. I'm sure some people would love to see it, but I think it would be a smart decision to get it off of him and try something a little bit more new and different in the next game that isn't the symbiote, or even bringing back the symbiotes in general, because it's just a redundant. Again, it's more of a redundant storyline, and it gives Peter a very, very overpowered edge over everything, bro. I'm just saying, like, the symbiote is overpowered, so I don't think they're going to keep it in this whole gameplay system the entire time, and I think this will be the last time we use it, is in that DLC. So I really just wanted to get that off my chest. I had some thoughts on the suit, and I wanted to write this down, and I thought it was a really fun video to kind of make. So if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. I really do appreciate all the support. I think all these ideas are really good, and I really do appreciate everybody that's been watching the videos and whatnot. It's been really fun to make them, so thank you so much. I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.